everybody. Welcome to The Swag. Good morning. I'm Jesse Cofield. We got a lot coming your way today on the show. We're talking Week 3 DFS salaries in the NFL. Emerson's talking in the background. He is here with Jared Carabas. A lot going on. It's going to be super fun. I'm just going to turn over to these guys. They're the real stars of the show and why you're here.
We have so much else coming up in the show, too, that you didn't tease. Like President's Cup bets. Don't do that. That's not appropriate. Okay. Yes, here we go. 3, 2, 1. It's the takeoff. Tuesday tradition unlike any other. Damn good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, too.
How was your weekend?
I don't remember. You told me.
Well, what are you talking about?
I don't remember what I did this weekend. And you were like, oh, you went to that concert on Friday. I don't remember what I did on Saturday or Sunday.
That's right. Tried to hang out with you, but you were
actually,
at Eric Clapton.
I was here on Saturday. That's where I was.
What were you doing here?
MLB Network hit.
Oh, all right. You know who had a good weekend?
Who?
Aaron Judge.
Again?
A splendid weekend. 2 more home runs on Sunday, so he's sitting at 59 now. He's 2 shy of Roger Maris's American League record of 61.
Who sucks, by the way, remember?
Yeah, I know.
Talked about that.
My God, people were so pissed off at your hot take that week. And actually, it wasn't a hot take. That was a fact. You think the Pirates will even pitch to them the next 2 nights? Like, what do you do? And then the Red Sox have the Yankees for 4 days.
Yeah, so here's the thing. The Milwaukee Brewers still have, I mean, they're like on like the precipice of getting into a playoff spot. The Pittsburgh Pirates have absolutely nothing to play for, so why wouldn't you pitch to Aaron Judge? Yeah. You're kind of a bad person if you don't pitch to Aaron Judge and you're on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Milwaukee Brewers, they made the decision to do it. I don't know why they made that decision when they have to win baseball games. They won the first 2. They ended up losing the finale there, but I don't know why anyone is pitching to Aaron Judge. I guess it's almost the integrity. Like if you're that close to Roger Maris, you kind of have to pitch to him.
So you don't expect him to get the Barry Bonds treatment here, like coming down the stretch at all?
No.
This week, dude, this week he could do it.
This week he could do it, which would be very funny because I know that a lot of people complain about the Apple TV. It'd be very funny if he broke the record on Apple TV.
Yeah, and we just showed you all these incredible numbers that he's putting up this season. So he leads the majors in home runs batted in. A batting title would really be the icing on the cake, wouldn't you think? So he's a few points shy of the Triple Crown right now. If he gets it, where would this season rank among most impressive in Yankees history?
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm a big Babe Ruth hater for a lot of different reasons.
I don't hate him because he likes glizzies.
Yeah, but he also likes doing some other stuff that's cancelable things. So we hate Babe Ruth.
Yeah, he would have been canceled.
Yeah, big time
this
canceled.
Day and age.
Big time canceled. Lou Gehrig also played in the 20s. Like, a lot of these guys never saw a fastball over like 81 miles an hour.
Totally different era.
Yeah, Mickey Mantle. You could convince me that Mickey Mantle has had one of, if not the greatest offensive season in Yankees history. Like you look at 1956, you look at 1957. Okay. Like he's hitting 370 with like 1,200 OPSs and 50-something home runs. But I think when you look at it, you break it down by era. Then you would have Aaron Judge is facing way better pitching than any of these guys have ever faced.
You are so right.
Plus, I mean, like we're in the last year of defensive shifts being allowed. Not that you can shift on Aaron Judge because he just puts it in the seats anyway.
You'd have to put everyone in the seats.
Yeah, but like we're in the era of information. So these guys know more on how to pitch Aaron Judge. Back in the day, it was just like, all right, I got 2 strikes from the guy, throw him a curveball. We'll throw him the ball that bends a certain way. Now, I mean, like they know what to look for. Hitters know what to look for. Pitchers they're looking at heat maps and all this other analytical information. So I think it would be kind of hard to not put Aaron Judge's season this year as the most impressive in Yankees history if you consider all the facts, not just the numbers on the surface.
So I think you're onto something there because if you forget the home runs, it really is one of the greatest all-around hitting seasons in baseball history. And the measure you can go to back that up is OPS plus, which is adjusted.
Ballpark adjusted, yeah.
Just for park and era. So it compares a player's performance to the rest of the league that season, setting the league average to 100, just in case anyone here is new, which this year is that's Josh Donaldson, around 100. His OPS plus this season, Jared, is 213. Makes him more than twice as good as a league average 2022 batter, man. Yeah. And he's handled this pressure with grace and humility all season. What are the chances New York actually lets this guy walk? It's a contract year.
Man, I don't know. back in the day, I would have said there's no chance. If George was still around, no chance that he goes anywhere. They just don't let these types of players, not just from an offensive standpoint, but you're talking about the face of your franchise, potentially the face of the league. We've talked about that in weeks past. But I still think it's a different Yankee regime. Like, it's just not the same guys that are running this organization. And you also, like, back in the day, we're talking 20, 30 years ago, the Yankees were the only show in town. They were the team that was going to roll out all the money. They were known for spending all the cash. Now they don't have a monopoly on that
sounds
anymore.
more like the Mets.
Yeah, the Mets
the
can do
right
that.
now.
The Dodgers can do that. The Giants can do that. Hey, the Red Sox can do that.
Okay. Potential contract for him. What's it going to look like?
Ooh.
And which team is going to give it to him?
Yeah,
if it's not the Yankees.
That number starts with a 3. That number starts with a 3.
So is it as simple as, like, here's a 10-year deal with an average annual value of $40 million? Because a team right now, whether it's the Yankees or another team out there, thinking about a potential hookup with Aaron Judge, they have to realize, first off, you're going to have to overpay for this guy.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see which team. Put it this way. I don't think the team that signs Aaron Judge is not going to be, I guess, the most aggressive. I think it's going to be the team that's the most creative.
Okay.
I think you mentioned a 10-year deal. Is it a team that comes in at 7 but has like a higher average annual value? So it's like, you'll make all your money.
Yeah.
We just don't want to commit 10 years to you. Because
Yeah.
I think a lot of teams saw what happened with Albert Pujols. Two completely different players. But you're talking about power hitters and how that ages and the miles that go on the body and what it takes to prepare. Like, once your power goes, like, if you're a power guy, like, what do you kind of have left? It's not like Aaron Judge is some sort of defensive specialist, and I mean, he's not winning batting titles every year. Like, this is an anomaly. So yeah, I think it's going to have to be one of those 7-8 year deals with, you're going to have to bump up the average annual value, then sort of spread it out over 10.
Yeah, because I would think with a team, the mindset, you pay for a decade, but hope you get like 7 quality seasons out of them, and like a return on investment in other areas. You mentioned, oh my God, the Red Sox have the money to like potentially give this guy a really fat deal.
Yeah.
Is it actually realistic in your eyes, Judge and the Red Sox?
It is realistic. I don't think that it's likely, but so when Juan Soto was on the trade block, and you had all these teams that were coming in, being linked to Juan Soto, the Red Sox weren't even a whisper. No one even like linked them. No, there wasn't even like a fake account being like, oh, I heard whispers that the Red Sox might be in on this guy. Like, that was frustrating as a Red Sox fan to be like, oh, you're a big market team. How can you not be in on Juan Soto? You have the pieces to make it happen. You have the money to extend him if you were to acquire him. Just nothing, not a peep. You're going to hear more than just a peep in regards to the Red Sox connection to Aaron Judge this offseason. I'm not going to sit here and say, I mean, it might be like 22% chance, which is not small.
No, that's not. That's almost a quarter of 100.
Yeah, I don't think it's a small percent, but I don't think that they're going to be like considered the heavy. I don't think we're going to see a tweet from Jeff Passan being like, the Red Sox are considered the favorite for Aaron Judge.
Because they still got to figure out what they're going to do with Xander, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
if signing Aaron Judge means no Xander Bogaerts, how do you feel about that?
Not good. Not good, because I think it'd be very hard to sell that to the clubhouse. And the clubhouse is already very agitated.
Bro, homegrown guy, dude. Those are
Yeah.
the ones you want to hang on to.
That's priority number one. And that what I believe, because obviously it depends on how you ask the question. If you were to ask me, what's the order of importance in terms of like talent-wise?
Yeah.
You would put Devers at the top of that list.
100%.
But if you were to say, which deal do you need to get done first? It's Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah,
have
because
to
you
get
still got a
Xander
couple more
done.
years of control with
Just one.
with,
You got Rafi for one.
oh, damn, okay.
Yeah, Rafi next year. That's it. Xander's a free agent. He can opt out. But that's the guy that you have to take care of right now. And I think you can't sign. I mean, I don't think ultimately people are going to complain, but if
Yeah,
you can't
that's what we love
sign
to do.
Aaron Judge and then be like, all right, now let's go get Xander. Like you day one, you're going to be picking up the phone, calling Scott Boras and getting that.
So we're not really talking playoffs. We're not really talking postseason right now here in Boston, but the
Yeah.
Dodgers, Mets, and Astros have already locked up spots in the playoffs. So if the postseason, if the playoffs did start today, here are the wild card matchups. Seattle, Cleveland, Tampa, Toronto, Philly, St. Louis, San Diego, Atlanta. Which potential wild card matchup intrigues you the most?
So I would normally say Seattle, Cleveland.
Yep.
Because it's been a long time since the Mariners have been in the playoffs.
We know how you and Steve Buchanan feel about Seattle, America's team, at least in Major League Baseball.
Our Seattle Mariners.
You're going San Diego, Atlanta, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
I'm not. Because if they were playing those games in Seattle, I would pick that series. But it's a 6-3 matchup, so they're playing that in Cleveland if the Guardians win the Central. I am going Tampa, Toronto, because those two teams have been battling it out in the AL East all year.
It's been hot.
Yeah, they've seen each other a lot.
Yeah.
I think there's always the potential for fireworks in playoff matchups against the teams that have seen each other the most already, and that would be those two teams. And they've also, I think that they're the most evenly matched, but not, they don't exactly, like the Toronto's offense and Tampa's offense, like it's not, like they're not similar, but they've performed similarly.
Toronto's like bombs away.
Yeah.
And then, you got the
Tampa can pitch.
Yes. Yeah, they certainly can.
I think that'll be an entertaining series.
So, you notice a team I didn't mention when we were talking playoffs is the Angels. So, for the 8th straight year, they're not in the postseason. They continue to waste the careers of 2 Hall of Famers here.
Yeah.
How the hell would you fix the Angels in this offseason? Is there a way to fix this team and actually get Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani to the postseason, man? That would be great for baseball.
It would be great for baseball. It's just not going to happen. This is not going to happen.
Is there any way
Nope.
to help this team in the off season to get them to the playoffs next year?
Nope. There's just not.
This is done, huh? They're done.
I mean, they
Will
have,
they ever make the playoffs again?
I mean, maybe eventually. I don't think it's happening with these guys.
It's just like they need like an Angels in the outfield like situation right now. They need all these like spirits and beings to come down and help. Mainly the front office.
They've got like a San Diego Padres thing going on where they have attempted to kind of collect good players, but like it just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't work out. Like the Padres have added even more talented players, and it just haven't worked out for them either. I mean, it sucks that you have to play in the same division as the Dodgers, but the Angels just, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I mean, they have no pitching. They haven't had pitching the entire time that Mike Trout hasn't made it to the playoffs. Like Shohei Ohtani realistically might win the Cy Young Award this year, and it's just not enough.
Yeah.
Like not even like we're talking like will they make the playoffs? They can't even have a winning season.
Yeah, I know. I was going to ask you how far away are they from being a competitive potential playoff team? It sounds like years.
Yeah, like we're not even talking about missing the playoffs or making the playoffs. We're talking about just having a winning season. They can't even do that. And they're in terms of like the available option, are they going to go sign Jacob deGrom this offseason? No, they're not going to do that, especially if they're in transition with a new ownership. So if they're selling the Angels, that's not a position that you want to be in if you're trying to take a team from missing the playoffs, another losing season, and then you want to put this thing back together. Who's writing the checks? We don't know. Well, that's a bad place to start.
I think it just sucks for the sport when those two are early exit every year.
Yeah, I mean, Shohei's out of there.
Hit us with your hot take of the week. Let's go.
Yeah,
we didn't do this last week.
We didn't do this last week, so it's not.
So you've
like
had a couple weeks to come up with this.
Yeah, this is. I don't even know if this is really a hot take. This is more just like something that I feel inside, and I feel like a lot of people will agree with me, which makes it not necessarily a hot take.
Like a venting session here.
Yeah,
in a way?
I mean, like so you know that like we at Baseball is Dead. We love to grow the game. We care about the fans. We care about the.
You really do.
The popularity of the sport, right? So we were having this conversation. Which World Series matchup do you think would grow the game the most? Which World Series matchup would baseball fans be able to take those World Series ratings and say, how you like them apples?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you.
I would go Yankees, Braves.
Yankees, Dodgers.
Oh.
Yankees, Dodgers would be the one where the massive ratings.
That would be huge.
Yeah.
You got top 2 markets.
Right.
I like Atlanta.
Well, here's the thing. I would love the Braves to go back. Braves, Mariners.
I
Braves,
know
Mariners.
I see you tweeting about it.
Braves,
That's why
Mariners.
that's why you got Aaron Judge before his contract offseason, and then you have like one of the young, hot, like up and coming teams just won the World Series a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, so I think that would be the best matchup to take those ratings and be a look. Baseball's not dead. Baseball's still alive. Look at how many people watch the World Series to tune in for Yankees.
Is that
Dodgers.
the only matchup that would actually do that, though? That would 100% be the biggest.
Oh, no, Yankees, Mets would do big numbers, too. Yeah.
You think West Coast would care about that? a whole lot? I don't know. I think
maybe not.
I think you need the Dodgers in there. If you want to sit there and you want to look at the numbers, you want to look at ratings and say baseball is not dead.
Right.
But you do need Yankees.
But
Dodgers.
here's my hot take, though. I don't want that matchup. That's the matchup where it's like, all right, this is.
Give it to me. What is it?
I don't know. I just don't want to see that. Like
Oh.
taking the matchup that would do the best numbers. Like I should want that. But I don't want that.
But you'd want that for a different reason, to prove to people who want to say that baseball's not dead, to say, or baseball is dead, to say it's not dead.
I'm pretty sure the World Series last year with the Braves did better numbers in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Can we fact check that? I'm pretty sure that's true.
Yeah, you don't have to look at Steve Buchanan off camera to fact check it. He's not going to literally do anything. He's just going to stand there and keep looking at
I feel like he's probably going to, he might be able to fact
All
check
right, well,
that.
speaking of the Yankees here, I'm told there is a watch party on Friday. Is that correct? There is a watch party.
Are you going to be there?
I'm going to be there.
Yeah, that's a nice photo.
I'm supposed to be there I thought I was doing like talking with you on stage or something, but I feel like you guys are doing something else. I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know what's going on.
I've been asked to be there.
I'll be there. All I know is that I'm going to be there, and we're going to be watching the game, and it's going to be fun.
So is that Friday, 7 o'clock at Cask and Flagon here in the Fenway area?
Yeah. Right across the street from Fenway.
Unfortunately, Kevin Plawecki won't be in the lineup on
But he might be there.
Friday.
He might be at the party.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because you just had him on your podcast, right?
Yes.
Was that good? Did you learn anything new?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tease it.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Plawecki got released by the Boston Red Sox.
Guys were not happy about that in the clubhouse. They were a little bummed out about it.
They were very upset about that. I was very upset about that. It ruined my whole night. We mentioned I was at Eric Clapton on Friday, and I found out that he had been released while I was at the concert. He was playing Cocaine as his closing song, and everyone is on their feet having an awesome time, and I'm the only person sitting down. And I looked like my dog just died, and it was because I found out that Kevin Plawecki had been released from Boston Red Sox. But this is his first official, exclusive sit-down since that happened. So we're asking him, I mean, he was pretty candid about what happened, what went down.
We download the pod, listen to it.
Yeah.
Were there tears shed?
Yeah, there were tears. Yeah, I cry a lot.
It's healthy, though.
Yeah.
It's one thing I've learned. I cry all the time.
What's the last thing you cried about?
I mean, seriously, this is gonna get dark.
Okay, I don't want. No,
let's not do this.
Let's not do this.
I could have just cried right now.
Let's do this on Friday.
Okay. All right, let's do it on Friday.
Let's bring it up on stage.
What a great way to end this segment here. Your job here is done. All right, we're gonna go to week 3 of the NFL season. We're gonna look at some salaries.
All right, yeah.
After this special message from Kevin Hart.
Oh.
Lamar, Zeke, Stephon, you've all been summoned to the Kevin verse.
You gotta be kidding me.
You're here because you're on my DraftKings Rainmakers fantasy team.
I liked him better when he was tiny.
Lamar, keep talking and I'll put you on a tiny bench. I've collected your digital player cards, and you're gonna help me build my NFT fantasy franchise so I can start crushing the competition. I need you all at 100%. Zeke, you're gonna catch a cold in that crop top. Maybe you should consider putting your belly button away. Hey, Lamar, you getting enough sleep? I seen you posting pictures in the club.
You stalking me?
Diggs, you gotta keep your hands moist so they stay soft. Nice and moist.
Please, stop saying moist. We done here, man.
Well, go ahead. There's the exit. Ha!
Build a roster by opening packs and joining drops and win a share of over $1 million in prizes every week of the NFL season. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app to get your free full roster starter pack. DraftKings Rainmakers Football. Build, play, win.
All right, here's a look at Week 2's top fantasy scores. So we got Stephon Diggs' performance in last night's romp of the Titans, earning him the 2nd spot on the list behind Lamar Jackson. Tyreek Hill right behind him. Diggs and the Bills will meet Hill and the Dolphins in Week 3.
And right now, all of you watching will meet DK contributors Jeff Ulrich and Pierce Dietrich. Wow, that is, thank you very much for that. Guys, Pierce, congratulations. Jags are in first place after 2 weeks. They have 100% of the wins in the AFC South.
That's crazy.
Which is great. But I would like to start with last night because the Bills here made a statement. That statement is that they are an unstoppable juggernaut, going from plus 550 to plus 400 to win the Super Bowl. Whew. Jeff, is this an overreaction or deserving?
No, they're the deserving favorite right now. I mean, look, they were absolutely just crushing on defense. I mean, we're not even going to talk about Josh Allen. It's just what they're doing on defense right now. I mean, creating turnovers. It's not just Ryan Tannehill. I mean, they did this week 1 against a competent quarterback in Matthew Stafford as well. So the Buffalo Bills are just going to be an insanely hard out. Now, you're asking me, like, what about these odds? Like, what should I do with my hard-earned money, Jeff? Man, plus 400 is it's just too short. And I do think that they have some competition in the AFC, and I think that competition is actually the Los Angeles Chargers at plus 1,500.
What?
You've got to react as the odds react. And right now, the overreaction is that the Buffalo Bills are so far ahead of everybody else that they deserve to be plus 400. They absolutely deserve to be the favorite. But the Chargers are close. And I think that the Chargers got unlucky losing that game on just a 99-yard interception return, a play that doesn't happen very often. I think they have a comparable defense, and I think they've got a comparable quarterback. So my money right now would be buying the dip on the Chargers. Let everybody else get FOMO on the Bills. We'll go to the other side and get some value there.
Hey, Pierce, would you bet the Bills or the field right now to win the Super Bowl?
Well, if I'm betting, I'll bet the field. But if I'm just looking at the better team, one of the best teams we probably have seen in years, it is the Bills. The defense is amazing. We don't give them enough credit, but Sean McDermott is the coach that took the Carolina Panthers on the defensive side to the Super Bowl. So obviously they have a great defense that's played 8 solid quarters. The scary thing is we haven't seen 8 solid quarters yet out of this offense. They've come out slow, and they still are piling on the points. They haven't really got their rushing game going. We don't really expect them to have too much coming out of the backfield, but they can definitely do a little bit better. So the scary thing really is this offense probably hasn't shown all of its cards yet. This is a terrifying team. I like the Chargers take. I like some of these other pivots, but the Bills are the best. No one is in their area code right now.
All right, then there's former Bills receiver Cole Beasley signing with the receiver-needy Bucks. He caught 82 passes for nearly 700 yards and a touchdown last year. So, Pierce, what kind of an impact could he have in Week 3 with Tampa Bay? Chris Godwin is injured here, and Mike Evans suspended for 1 game after
They
that
need this guy.
push.
Yeah, go back and check the tape. Numerous episodes of this show, I have been screaming about the Buccaneers need to sign Cole Beasley. Well, look, it finally happened. He's a perfect fit here. Tom Brady loves to have that underneath guy, the guy that gets the short routes, that moves the chains. We've seen him have tons of success with Julian Edelman, with Wes Welker, or even his safety blanket, his binky, his safety valve in Gronk. He loves to have that one guy that he can rely on. Cole Beasley can be that guy. He's not going to put up thousands of yards, but when you need a reliable guy, you know where he's going to be on the field. That will be Cole Beasley. Jeff is probably going to bring up he's not in the player pool yet. He might be in the player pool. It might be a little too early to pull the trigger on rostering him because he might not know the playbook. But down the road, I think he is a perfect fit for this offense and a perfect fit for Tom Brady.
Jeff, you want to take a flyer on Cole Beasley, even though he might not know the playbook?
I kind of do, actually. I mean, let's look at the Buccaneers' potential depth chart. Russell Gage, Perriman, Scotty Too Hottie Miller, and then Cole Beasley. I dare say I trust Cole Beasley coming in cold off the sideline more than I trust the rest of those players. Perriman has actually been a very good fill-in. Nice connection with Tom Brady there. But I think Beasley is an improvement over Russell Gage. Russell Gage was just hyped for no reason. He's just working off garbage time he got in Atlanta, and everyone was like, oh, yeah, he's perfect fit for this offense. Cole Beasley is probably the better player, and I think there's a very good chance he comes in and actually gets quite a bit of volume here right off the bat. I just think that the Bucs are going to have no choice but to work him in. He's experienced. He's obviously worked really well with Josh Allen in the past. And, yeah, we're not sure about DFS yet, but, Pierce is right. Like, I think this is a player maybe for season long you should go think about stashing. Julio Jones, this is an ongoing concern. He could be missing half the season. Mike Evans will be back, but, I mean, Godwin, obviously off the ACL, like, Beasley could easily be the second option here for a large portion of the season for the Bucs. Beasley's worth stashing. He's certainly worth keeping an eye on if somehow we get exposure to him in DFS this week.
Well, gentlemen, another week, another Millie Maker cooking in the DraftKings lobby right meow. $4 million up for grabs. $1 million to first place. Look at that. Just $20 to enter. $1 million. 1 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday it kicks off. Anywho, people at home have questions. You too, hopefully, will be delivering answers. So let's price check right now. Jeff, which quarterback stands out to you for Week 3 on DraftKings?
I'm going to go with Kyler Murray. And I talked about him earlier in the week, but at 7,300, I think a lot of people are going to be looking at Kyler and say, oh, it's the Rams. We can't roster a Cardinal against the Rams. The Rams are just too good. The Rams' defense has not been good to start the year. I mean, they were allowing pretty big plays to Marcus Mariota, like a 7.5 yards per attempt. And, week one, obviously they got decimated by the Buffalo Bills offense as well. I really, really like the way Kyler Murray ended that game last week against the Raiders. They're going to be at home for week 2. I think Kyler Murray and the Cardinals actually might put up a fight this week. And I know I've been super negative on them, but got to give Kyler Murray some respect here. Marquise Brown, obviously, another week integrated into the offense is good. Hopefully Zach Ertz can be a little bit more healthy. But I think Kyler Murray shows up, and I think at 7,300, that is a player that I think will have low sentiment this week. And we're talking milli makers. You're going to get low ownership on it. Anytime you get low ownership on a guy who's got as much rushing upside as Kyler, you can take a shot with him.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure what the status is of James Conner either, so they may have to put a little more on.
Probably hurt like he always is.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that Reed's not here to defend.
Questionable. He's questionable.
That was directed mainly at Reed, for sure.
Pierce, what about you? Which quarterback's price do you like right now?
Well, let's talk about low ownership and a discount and go with Mac Jones. He looked better last week, and he's in a really interesting matchup. The Ravens allowed Joe Flacco to throw for 300 yards in week 1, and then 469 yards allowed last week by the Ravens secondary. That's a lot of yards. That's not necessarily a fluke. It seems to me that the Ravens secondary got a little bit of problems. On paper, these names look great, but their cornerbacks have aged. Humphreys and Peters, not quite the cornerbacks that they used to be. Kyle Fuller's on the IR. That leaves a bunch of rookies and injured rookies. And we saw it last week. A lot of miscommunication, just poor play. Mac Jones is going to be in a position to take advantage of that. And I expect this game to shoot out just like you saw last week. The Ravens are going to move the ball. They're going to score points. The Patriots are going to have to play catch up or keep pace. And the way that they're going to have to do that is to throw the ball. You get Mac Jones really cheap. He's probably going to go really low owned. Unless this starts to heat up. But I think Mac Jones is the play.
I could hear the entire control room on the other
screaming.
side of this very thin, cheap wall screaming after they heard you recommend Mac Jones.
So, Pierce, if you're going with Mac Jones for your quarterback, I can only assume it's because you need to spend a lot of money on a running back.
Actually, I'm not going to save on all these plays. Look, you can pay up for any of the players, and it's probably a wise move because we don't necessarily know the matchups right now. We don't know which defenses are really strong at this point in the season. So it is a wise move to spend money based on talent. But there are plenty of value options that are going to help you differentiate in GPPs, and especially ones that are going to be cheap and go low owned, like Damien Pierce. Damien Pierce burned a lot of people in week 1. But that's really your own fault. And that's also the fault of a DFS YouTube industry that is pumping out tons of saturated videos going on and on and on. They made Damien Pierce into a thing when he wasn't a thing, and he didn't do anything in week 1. He burned a bunch of people. But then you see week 2, he comes out, plays over 60% of the snaps, puts down a solid number, and that is going to be facing a rush defense that allowed almost 200 yards on the ground in the Bears. So hopefully, a lot of people were burned by Damien Pierce. And they're not going to go back to him anytime soon. You're going to get him discounted. You're going to get him low owned. And he has tons of upside in this matchup. Who else do the Texans have to give the ball to? They have a legitimate shot at winning this game. And if they want to win, they should follow Green Bay's, what they did last week, the blueprint, which is to run all over the Bears.
Pierce is going to build his lineup and still have $30,000 left
yeah,
over.
he's going to leave it on the
in
table.
His DK budget.
Yeah. Jeff, you got Kyler Murray. If he wasn't questionable, were you going to stack him with James Conner? What?
I mean, I was actually going to take Damien Pierce as well, but which I think is going to be a great value going up against the Bears, who just got destroyed by the Green Bay backfield, obviously. But I'll talk about another game because Detroit, Minnesota deserves our attention here, and Deandre Swift. I hope people just stay off him. I hope we just get questionable practices, and it's looking a little iffy. And I don't really want to go back to Deandre Swift this week. 7,200. He has looked so good, playing through an ankle sprain and coming through with a bunch of long plays. Yes, the red zone usage, and again, this is something else that's going to scare people off. Jamal Williams getting all the red zone touches right now. Part of this is the injury. Part of this is just game flow, really. Deandre Swift led the Detroit Lions in red zone touches last year. That will equal out. if DeAndre Swift gets in a full practice at the end of the week, this is all systems go. The Minnesota Vikings are what they thought we are. They are what they thought they were. We think, whatever. They're not that good. They're not that good on defense. They've got an aging defense as well. The Detroit Lions offense is far better than people think. They put up points against the Eagles, which, as we saw last night, that's a pretty good squad to do it against. So you need to keep riding this team, and you need to keep riding the focal points. DeAndre Swift at 7,200. I think this price is going to be too cheap by the end of the year, assuming you can stay healthy, and you've got to watch the injury reports and make sure we get some positive news. But I think that the low sentiment here is going to be worth buying into. You got to keep riding this Lions offense.
All right, Jeff, let's go quick here on wide receiver so we can get the tight end. Highest price dude, Cooper Kupp, but 9.9, but he's putting up 35 points a game right now.
Yeah, but this one's easy. You have to pay up at wide receiver. This is the theme of the year. Going to be telling you this all year. Let's just go back to Justin Jefferson. The Detroit Lions outside wideouts, they're terrible. They proved it 2 games in a row. A.J. Brown, McLaurin went for a pretty big game. Really, just they let Carson Wentz go for like 1 billion yards. Justin Jefferson, you pay up here. You take the other side of this game. This is going to be a shootout between Minnesota and Detroit.
I mean, Jefferson is 1B to Cooper Kupp's 1A in terms of reliability, Pierce.
Yeah, pay up. There's really no discussion that needs to be had. Just pay up for those wide receivers. They're going to get theirs every week. So I just thought some value names. Dortch seems to be the real deal. Garrett Wilson had a big week last week. And if you're playing Mac Jones, then you want to consider Jacoby Myers with 13 targets last week, 9 catches, almost 100 yards. Never gets into the end zone. But if we expect the Ravens secondary to struggle again, then Jacoby Myers is probably going to be a big part of that.
All right, let's talk tight ends real quick, Pierce.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce, $1,000 more expensive than anybody else on here.
No, come on. They're going to go like tight end
Very
or
cheap.
something here.
You're going to go cheap.
Yeah, if you can afford him, play Kelce. If not, Dallas Goedert is slowly getting better every week. The Philadelphia Eagles offense is quite dynamic. I'll take Goddard. You can also consider Conklin, who's going to get a lot of passing if the Jets continue to play from behind. And Evan Ingram is out there, and he is slowly heating up.
Yeah, he is.
All right, Jeff, who do we like at tight end?
I really like Conklin's usage and just his ability as a route runner as well. But I think that, again, you can stack this Detroit game in numerous ways. I think this is the week we see TJ Hawkinson potentially take away some of that production. He's only $4,200. That's $700 cheaper than week 1. Great matchup against Minnesota, again, who just allowed Goddard to go for almost 100 yards. I think Hawkinson probably sees just a little bit better production this week. Again, just like, we saw Devonta Smith on the Eagles take, it'll flow back and forth. There's multiple targets here on Detroit. Amon-Ra St. Brown will be great all year, but Hawkinson will probably have his day in the sun. It might be this week.
Yeah, Tyler Conklin, though, $3,800. Like it. Season high. Yeah, that's right. All right, Jeff, we're going to talk some President's Cup with you coming up, so hang out, Pierce. We appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Right now, we have a full slate of MLB games lined up for tonight. Up next, we're going to play a little game of What's in the Hat. It's become a fan favorite here, and that's because, Miss Cofield, sometimes it could go a little off the rails.
DRB.
You are not going to try to find Julio Rodriguez's name
I'm
on
not
purpose.
trying to find anything.
You need to close your eyes and actually pick like a human.
Okay.
Close your eyes.
Hold
Stop
on.
looking. Stop looking. If you pick Julio Rodriguez, I'm not answering. I'm leaving.
My eyes are closed. Who do I pick? It's Julio Rodriguez!
Not doing it. No, I'm not doing it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not putting it in the zero spot. I don't care.
My
Billy.
eyes were closed.
Look, we're going to go backstage. Follow me out the studio. I'm not doing it. No, that's my guy. That's my guy, and I'm not doing that. He's a stud on the field, in person, human. Not doing it.
Julio Rodriguez.
Did he just shoot like a WWE promo?
Come follow me. Look, we're going to go down to the kitchen. I'm going to get a snack. We're going down here. I'm not putting Julio Rodriguez in.
Unbelievable. What is happening right now?
No,
yeah,
I'm not
Julio Rodriguez, Steve Friends will score 0 fantasy points tonight.
Like I'm not doing it.
No, you don't, Jared Carabas.
That's as far as you go.
All right.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
What the hell is happening right now? All right.
You were.
What?
That was funny.
That was great.
Yeah.
I mean, Bukes.
Who is it great for?
It's great for you.
Is it?
Dude, Julio Rodriguez only ended up with like 3 points, so it wasn't that bad to have him in the zero
but
spot.
I didn't want to be responsible for Julio Rodriguez having a bad game. Like, I would never do that to my guy. Right? Like, would you go out there and say, hey, I want something bad to happen to my dad? Like, of course you wouldn't. So I wouldn't say something like that about Julio Rodriguez.
You mean my dad, Trevor Lawrence? No.
That doesn't make sense. He's like 10 years old.
He's like a lot younger than you.
Garion, good to have you back. It didn't end up like being all that bad with Julio Rodriguez in the zero spot. And you two tied last week, by the way.
Yeah, you guys tied.
I mean, he literally had 0 DraftKings points with 9 in the 9th inning with 2 outs, and then he managed a single. So it really could have been pretty funny.
Right? Like that hissy fit for almost nothing. What a child, Garion.
All right, but let's get this back on the rails. So let's remind the people and ourselves how this game works. So we're going to pick a name out of a hat right here, okay? You two put them into one of 4 categories for the night. You can see right here, we'll score 20 plus, we'll score 10 plus, we'll score 5 plus, we'll score 0. Now each analyst can pass the player they pick to the other analyst one time during the segment, forcing that analyst to assign the player to a category. So that's how the rules work.
All right, producer Slates, who should go first today? Since they tied last week.
Right.
All right. He
Let's
says
give Steve the option to go first.
Okay. Nestor Cortez. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, it's against the Pirates, and the Pirates are literally one of the worst teams in the league against lefties. You know, Nestor was a very strong Cy Young candidate in the first half of the season.
I remember that. He's not anymore.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, there's some very strong candidates right now. He's trailed off a little bit, but he's gotten back off track, at least during the month of September. If you look at his last couple starts, just about 19 DraftKings fantasy points in 2 of his last 3 starts. He should do very well against this Pirates team, one of the most susceptible teams in the league to strikeouts against lefties. So I guess I have to put him right at the top here at 20 because can't go lower than that. I think it's going to be a big game for old Nestor. I see Garion's a little quizzitive over there. He didn't like that maybe.
Oh, no, I'm not quizzitive. I'm just upset. I think particularly Jesse, as a new parent, should not be here rewarding Steve with the first pick after throwing a temper tantrum. But that's fine.
First off, that wasn't
be the
Jesse.
underdog like I always am.
To be fair, that was Slate's pick that, not me, because you're right. I would take the tough
You allowed
parenting
it to
route.
happen, okay?
I
And
would
that's what makes bullying.
She could have stepped in.
Steve to timeout. You're right. I would send Steve to timeout.
You really have changed since you had a kid.
I honestly am going to fight everyone here. All right, let's go, Garion, and pick the next
hold
name
on,
out of the
shuffle
hat.
it up. Oh.
Austin Hayes. Where are we going? Where are we going, Garion?
I'm going directly to 0 DraftKings points.
Oh my God!
Who's been terrible since the All-Star break. This is someone who's hitting just above 200 with a 65 WRC plus since the beginning of July. He's also been absolutely terrible against left-handed pitching this season, which is the one thing he did well last year. A .054 isolated power in his opportunities against lefties since the All-Star break. I know Joey Wentz is not exactly Cy Young, but Austin Hayes is hitting at the bottom of this Orioles lineup, and he's not very good. So I'm just going to put him at 0 DraftKings points.
Okay. We're going to shuffle it up. Hey, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, Steve, you're in the studio.
Pick.
Why don't you pick?
You pick.
Oh,
that way you
Garion's
can
gonna be
blame
so mad.
yourself. Who do you got?
Austin Voth.
All right.
You know what? I'm going to screw with Garion. I'm going to pass it off to Garion.
Yeah! There you go, big boy. Flex those muscles. Go ahead,
All right,
Garion.
Garion, it's been passed off to you.
I think it's fine. I'm going to put Austin Voth in the 10 DraftKings point category. I mean,
He's not worried about it.
Somewhere between 12 to 16 DraftKings points tonight. He's a starting pitcher who's got a 2.44 ERA across his last 10 appearances. And he's facing the Tigers, who are the worst team against right-handed pitching in baseball. They have the lowest WOBA and the lowest WRC+. I don't think Austin Voth's amazing, but the Tigers are the best matchup he could possibly have. And he's pitching pretty well lately. So, yeah, I think he easily clears 10 DraftKings points.
They just put up 9 runs yesterday, so you better watch out.
All right,
I mean, they put up 11
Garion.
Oh, right. That's right.
This next one is for Garion too, right?
No, yes.
Yeah, because
All right,
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so Garion, this will likely be your first player not named Austin.
Nolan Arenado!
Yep.
You know what? I'll put Nolan Arenado right at the top in the 20 DraftKings point category.
Who is he?
He's got a sneaky great matchup tonight against Mike Clevenger. Mike Clevenger cannot keep the ball in the ballpark his last couple of starts. And actually, if you go back across his last 8 starts, right-handed batters have a slugging percentage of nearly 600 and a 417 WOBA off of Clevenger. I think Arenado goes deep tonight. I think he has a fantastic game. So I'll put him in that 20 DraftKings point slot.
Okay. Here we go.
Steve, we continue to let you blame yourself. I
pick
pulled the
one?
last one.
Oh, okay. Here you go.
I pulled Garion's.
We just make up rules on the fly.
Yeah, why not? We
it's
can
your
do whatever
game.
we want in here.
Sal Perez.
Show
You
the
can't
camera.
blame anyone
Show
but
them.
yourself.
That's for dramatic purposes. What's wrong with doing that?
Okay, I was just checking.
Why are you so upset about this pick?
I'm not upset about it. I'm going to put him in the 10 spot here.
Certainly seem disgruntled.
Do it.
This is for dramatic. This is television, right? Nobody
Yeah,
loves
this
boring.
is
It's
just for
dramatic.
TV.
The next time I pick, I'm going to do that thing where I toss it and throw it at Billy, and it flutters right in front of the camera. It's like a 3D effect.
Yeah.
Ever watch Friday the 13th in 3D?
No, I've seen
I'm
Jaws 2
I'm
and 3.
scared of scary
Okay,
movies.
well, right into the camera. All right, Sal Perez. We'll put him in the 10 spot here, going up against Dylan Bundy. Dylan Bundy is somebody who is just, this used to be like a big strikeout pitcher. Now he's like averaging like less than 6 strikeouts per 9 inning. It's incredible. The home runs haven't been as apparent as they have in the past, but Sal's in a good spot here, likely batting cleanup here for the Royals. I think he's a decent matchup against someone who's inducing a ton of contact like Dylan Bundy. Give me Sal Perez. I'll put him in the 10 spot here.
Are you scared that now you only have 0 left again?
No. He has 5 left too.
Yeah,
So
you
this
put him
would
in the
be
10.
Garion
Oh,
picking
okay.
now, but I think Garion also still has his pass. So if this is someone who's good, could
Right.
hand it off to Steve. Steve, you also may back yourself into the 0 corner.
Gary, and it's Austin Riley. A lot of Austins today.
What the? Oh my!
It is a big Austin
Team
night. That is
Austin.
true.
75% of your team is
night.
Austin.
Yeah.
And we're missing the best one, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's true. He would score 30 DraftKings points. This is pretty easy for me. Austin Riley's definitely going to score over 5 DraftKings points.
All right.
He's got Patrick Corbin tonight. Not only does Riley crush every left-handed pitcher on the planet in general, he's hitting .338 with a 208 WRC plus against lefties this season. He's never faced a left-handed pitcher as much in his career as he's faced Patrick Corbin. And he has a 998 OPS off of Corbin because of course he does. Patrick Corbin's not any good anymore. So I think Austin Riley could have over 5 DraftKings points by the first inning. So I think he gets there pretty fast. I'm very confident about this one.
All right, you have 2 more left. I guess Garion's
He got
done.
one passed off, so Garion's done now.
Wow.
So Steve,
All right, so
your
you
fate
picked
is in
that
your
you have
hands.
2 more categories.
And then I'm gonna do dramatic effect.
You have
regardless of the pick.
5
right.
plus. Let us know who it is. Show the camera first.
It's Mitch Haniger. That's a Seattle Mariner.
Oh,
Oh,
Lord.
God.
See, we keep doing this thing. You know what?
We keep doing it.
I think next week we should do a different game.
Where are you going to
What
put
do
him,
we
dude?
See, here's the thing too, because there's Luis Castillo's in there too, so I might have to put him in the 0 spot, and that's not, all right. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put Mitch Haniger in the 0 spot, even though it's actually probably not the best matchup against JP Series. He's actually been quite solid for the Oakland Athletics since coming up. I was a former Yankee, by the way. But Haniger hasn't been hitting for as much power as we'd like to see. Last year, kind of like Austin Hayes, Mitch Haniger was an absolute beast against lefties. Haven't really seen that from him so far. Hasn't really been hitting well either over the past 10 games. 3.4 DraftKings fantasy points over his last 10 games. So I'm going to put him in the 0 spot because I'm banking on getting Luis Castillo in the 5 spot and be like, wow, all he needs is at least 5 DraftKings fantasy points. What a guy.
So for this last one, these are face down.
These
We're
are the
gonna
3
have
remaining ones.
Garion pick left, right, or middle, and you have to say like camera right or camera left.
Yeah.
Just-
Okay.
Just tell me which
camera
one
left.
you want.
So camera left, Emerson is going to be your right.
You just
Okay.
So this one.
Yes.
This one.
Yeah.
His mind is in
This
that
one.
pretzel.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh,
it's
he got
That's
Castillo!
fine, but that's okay. He's got to get at least 5 DraftKings fantasy points. I think so. Against,
All right.
against the Oakland
All
Athletics.
right.
Against the-
God, that
He'll
was
have
dramatic.
5 DraftKings fantasy points
Hey,
after
man,
like
it's
the
TV.
second
We're
half.
just adding drama.
Right, I
That's
know.
showbiz, baby.
Come
Yeah, this is
on.
television. Just like when I throw these things at the camera. It's very dramatic. Look at that. Fell down like gold
It
dust.
almost didn't even
but
fall.
obviously, Luis Castillo has been
Terrible selection, Garion.
has been one of the best pitchers for the Mariners since that trade deadline came over from coming over from the Reds. Here, you look at his numbers. They've been better at home than they have been on the road, but obviously when you're pitching in the Oakland Coliseum, that's basically like a home ballpark for him. So I absolutely put him in the 5 DraftKings fantasy point. He's going to exceed that dramatically. And Gary's walking around in his house.
Gary, what are you doing right now?
What is this?
Oh,
my
no!
God,
I'm
Gary's
just so
leaving.
frustrated. I
Gary's
can't
leaving.
take it.
He
Yeah.
can't do it.
He can't do
Oh
it.
my God, he's pulling a Bukes.
He's pulling a Steve.
Oh God, that's Buchanan's
Man.
music.
He's
going down the
Oh no!
We're losing him. Yeah.
When is he going to drop Wi-Fi? That's what I
man.
Now I just need someone to come down the hallway, maybe like
And just
a
think,
Nick
hey, man,
Fryer,
what are
kick
you
him in the
doing?
face.
Do they have to sign like a release form if they get in camera view?
Yeah, they do.
They
Probably.
might have to.
All right, Gare Bear, we're going to lose you when you get on the elevator.
Yeah.
So,
the emergency exit.
thanks, dude.
Wow. What a
see
time
you.
to be alive. We love that segment.
We will see you next week. We'll see how it all plays out. Nice job today.
Oh, thanks.
One more block to go.
Yeah, one more block to go.
Who's it with?
It is with Jeff and Jason Sobel. We're going to talk some President's
Golf.
Cup
At least
bets
it's not
because
with
it's a
Pierce.
unique format. People need to know how to approach this on
Group
the
play
DK
is
Sports
confusing,
Back.
so we're going to talk about
Pierce
that.
is horrible.
All right, we'll be back. Bye.
Gary's back.
All right, guys. Let's talk the President's Cup here.
Don't forget to call Jared after the show, though.
Yes, I know. I don't know if anyone else heard that at home. Anywho, yeah, President's Cup. President's Cup this week. Yeah, the PGA Tour just came back 2 weeks ago, last week, and was already like, yeah, let's take a 1 week break here.
Why not?
So, first President's Cup in 3 years. Wow. Team competition between the U.S. and international players. So 30 matches over 4 days. You got foursomes, 4-ball, single matches. And yeah, winners of the last 11 of the last 13 competitions by the United States.
So they're pretty good at this.
It's a lot. It's obviously very different than your typical weekly tournament on the PGA Tour, which is why we're bringing back Jeff Ulrich, DK contributor, and also the Action Network's Jason Sobel here for some best bets and strategy ahead of the President's Cup from Quail Hollow, which it looks like you are at this week, Jason.
Yeah, it looks like I'm in a storage unit right now,
Yep.
but yes, I'm in the media center here at Quail Hollow. Indeed, the course is right there. I will be out there in about 5 minutes.
All right, excellent, dude. Well, I saw you tweeting out this morning an article about bettors and how they should approach this week because the Americans are such massive favorites here. So, what would you recommend to people out there?
So there's a few different ways you can do it. You can find a line on this, just like, hey, we're in football season. There are spreads and spread bets on football games. We all understand. If you could find the U.S. at maybe a -5, -4, and take them -4, -5 this week, I don't think that's a bad play. I've got them winning 17.5 to 12.5 this week, and so I think anything less than that, if you can find it on a spread bet, not a bad play. This came to me from my editor, Matt Trevi. I'm going to give him full credit, but if you're that confident the U.S. is going to win, and you just mentioned 11-1-1 overall in this event, massive favorite, and say, look, I'm not betting at -700 or maybe even shorter than that this week. You want to use it as a parlay booster. Again, we're in the middle of football season. If you're getting -110 on a singular football bet that you like to make, you can essentially parlay it with the U.S. winning the President's Cup, turn it into +118, then all of a sudden it's plus money bet. Again, you're playing with fire right there. If the U.S. doesn't win and you win all your football bets, you're not going to win those parlays. But if you love the U.S. this week, that's one way to play it.
Jeff, a lot of ways to approach this on the DK Sportsbook. What words of wisdom do you have for bettors?
Yeah. We just take a pause here. Jesse, could you just give Emerson a shot in the shoulder for me? And then we'll just thanks. Yeah,
okay.
It doesn't. Yeah, about medium strength.
What's that? What's that about? What's that about?
He's texting me during the show. It's
my gosh!
Yeah.
Wow.
He's not doing his job, is what is happening.
No, Jason. I texted him. I said, "Sorry, Jeff. Jason and I are best friends."
That's definitely not all you said, but I won't repeat
but you don't text me.
what else was said.
All right.
I don't get a text.
I'll text you too, Jason.
God, this is what you get.
Jeff, talk about a betting approach this week.
First of all, I love this strategy by Jason. You have to take advantage of this U.S. line at some point. I mean, yes, anything can happen. It's sports. I mean, the Cleveland Browns proved that on the weekend. But the U.S. is so deep from a talent perspective here. I think even at the line right now, I don't think it's still priced in. I think this should be closer to minus 1,000. So absolutely, you can use it as parlays. I actually like looking down the board too. There's some props out there. You can go to the singles day winner and for day 4, and you can get the USA just to win the singles matches at minus 225. I don't really understand why this line is only minus 225. If the USA is projected as such heavy favorites, there's a pretty good chance they're probably going to win the singles day as well. So you can look for lines throughout the sports book, the spread bets as well. And let's not write off the international squad altogether. There's going to be some value, I think, as this thing gets out of hand. I think you'll see international players perhaps on singles day, like Sung J.M., some of these higher end guys. You don't have to bet them down the board, but you get some pretty good odds on singles matches. So look for that too. There's probably going to be an overreaction at some point on some of the head-to-heads and team matches that you might want to look at as the underdog. But for the most part, look for the American odds. Look to use them whatever you can. If there's any advantage in the spreads, this one will probably be a blowout.
Yeah, Jeff, the next question is basically saying the U.S. is a heavy favorite, minus 700 on the DK Sportsbook. Sounds like you're not giving the international team a shot at all to win this thing.
No value in betting these lines here, is there?
I don't think so. Like I said, I think that you would have to get up to I was expecting this to be closer to a minus 8. Maybe it will get there by tee off, but I still think that this line is actually just not short enough in the U.S.'s favor. I mean, it's just from top to bottom. I mean, the USA just has such an advantage. Even the setup at Quail Hollow is a huge advantage. You've got Max Homa, Justin Thomas, former winners at Quail Hollow. The USA has 8 players that ranked in the top 40 in driving distance last season on the PGA Tour. The international squad has 3. And 3 of those, a couple of those players captain's picks. There is a massive advantage just in the venue alone that it's taking place at this year. I think it really favors the strong tee to green play that is basically the entire U.S. squad. So they also got Webb Simpson on the team, who absolutely knows this course front to back. It's really hard to find an area here where you can just pinpoint and say, yeah, maybe the internationals win if this happens. I just don't think this line is short enough yet.
Yeah, Jason, there's really not a lot of value there, right?
No, I don't think there is, Jesse. And what I've been saying for the last couple of weeks about this event is you can't really bet something minus 700 on unless you're Biff coming back to the future with a sports almanac. I need a guarantee if I'm betting something at minus 700. That said, I'm not really betting the underdog at plus 700 either because I don't think they're going to win. And so essentially it makes it unbettable from an outright standpoint. And so I'm looking for other ways to play it. And like we said, whether it's a spread bet, whether it's part of a parlay boost, there are other ways to do it this week instead of just playing right now minus 700 or plus 700 for either squad.
I mean, the international team doesn't have a single player in the top 10 in the world. Matsuyama, 17th, is their highest ranked player, and on the flip side of that, 10 American players rank higher than Matsuyama. But the matchups, guys, we know they're going to be decided tomorrow, so we don't know who plays who quite yet. But there are props that you can bet right now on the DK Sportsbook. For example, we have the top point score from both sides. Let's start with the U.S., where, Jason, you have Xander Schauffele and Scotty Scheffler, both at plus 550 here. Who do you like to be the top scoring American?
First of all, I've learned never question the traders at DK. I know that they know what they're doing. That said, you would assume Xander and Patrick Cantlay are playing every match together, and yet I'd like Cantlay a little bit more in a singles match. I'm not sure why Xander is the co-favorite alongside Scheffler. And then there's the fact that Justin Thomas is longer odds than all 3 of those guys. Really? If I'm looking for one alpha dog on this U.S. squad, it's Justin Thomas. Over the last 4 team competitions, Ryder and President's Cup, he's got a record of 12-4-3. At the last 2 President's Cups, he was undefeated going into Sunday, lost his Sunday singles match. I'm going to tell you right now, I think he goes undefeated this week. It might be a 3-0-2. It might be a 4-0-1. He will probably, most likely, be paired with Jordan Spieth for at least 2 or 3 matches, if not all 4 team matches. I think Justin Thomas is going to have a hell of a week on a place where Oh, by the way, he won his first career major championship right here at Quail Hollow 5 years ago.
Jeff, you like someone with a little longer odds than the two favorites?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you have to look at the top four. Like, it's pretty dicey to go outside the top four. I know Tony Finau is like shooting 60s on like 8,000-yard courses right now on social media, and you've got Morikawa at plus 900. I mean, that could happen, but I think that with the way the form of the top four players, I think that Cantlay and Thomas are where it's at, and I think you could even maybe just sprinkle a little bit on both sides, because I think what Jason said about Justin Thomas. He's shown really well. The record isn't always there with the match play with Justin Thomas, but some of that is just like his overall match play at the WGC. He hasn't really done well. But in the Ryder Cup and President's Cups formats, he's been really solid outside of like maybe one singles loss or something like that. I think it was to Cam Smith at the last President's Cup. But as we know, like Cam Smith's a pretty good player. So I think the plus 700 on Justin Thomas is the most intriguing for me from the American side. I wouldn't write off Cantlay, but with the course being what it is, Quail Hollow, the Thomas connection, that is absolutely where I would go. I think that you don't drift outside the top four players, though, for betting on the American side for top point score.
Okay.
All right, let's look at the international side now. So Sungjae Im leading the way there at plus 600. Who's your pick from this team, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, you can get a little bit wild here. I mean, if you want. I mean, there are situations here where, you know, a guy like Taylor Pendrith comes out, plays good on the team the week one, and they just keep riding him because what else are they going to do? I mean, they have to ride the hot hand. So I think if you're going to take a long shot, like looking at two players down the list like Taylor Pendrith or Mito Pereira, very strong tee to green players. They're both really good off the tee. They could just really gel well here on a course at Quail Hollow where length is needed, where strength off the tee is needed. Those are the two players I would be looking for down the board. I still think the most likely scenario is here Sungjae Im, who just finished second in the FedEx Cup playoffs, and you know was better than a lot of the American players, probably plays in all 5 matches and probably goes like 3-2 because he's a really good player and again really strong off the tee. So you know maybe you pair Sungjae with like a long shot on Pereira or something, but I think Sungjae Im is probably the bet here, and I don't really have a hot take on anyone else you know in the middle of the international lineup. I think most of these guys are going to be in tough.
All right, Jason, what's your take?
I'm going with the elder statesman of the group. Adam Scott is not a rah-rah type of guy. He's not going to be a guy in the locker room that's going, all right, guys, we're the underdog. Let's go get him. He's a laid-back dude. He's going to have to lead with his clubs. He's got one of the sweetest swings in golf he has for the last 20 years. And so I expect Adam Scott, who quite honestly a couple of years ago I would have thought would be phasing out at this point. Look, he's got money. He's got the good looks. He's got a family at home. He likes to go surfing. He's got other interests. I would have thought Adam Scott would start slowing down in his 40s. He's had a really nice year. 3 top 5s, 6 top 10s, a couple of top 15s and major championships in 2022 alone. I think it's going to be a nice week for Adam Scott, and I think he understands his role on this team is to be a leader. He's going to have to lead with his clubs.
All right, Jason, before you guys take off, the winning side is the first team to reach 15.5 points. So there can be a tie, 15-15. They share the trophy. Nobody wants that. A tie is plus 1,600 on the DK Sportsbook. Let's get your prediction on the final score of the tournament. What is your favorite bet here, Jay?
It's 17.5 to 12.5. I don't love the odds on going exact score. You got to be really sure of it. Boy, I wish they were a little bit bigger, but if you want to have some fun with it, where is it? 17.5, 12.5, plus 850?
Yep.
Whew. Again, traders killing me, guys. I want double that for picking it right, for getting it exactly right.
We all would, yeah. All right, Ulrich, where are you going?
Yeah, there's probably better markets here. We could probably be going to like top rookie score, but let's have some fun. I think you got to go bigger than this. I think that I'd go down to the USA. I'd probably say, let's go 19.5, 10.5. A plus 1,100. At least you're getting a little bit bigger odds. I think there's all the chance that like the USA just comes out too hot, and it's just a walk in the park. You know, like by the time we get to the singles, they're up too much. We kind of see some give up, and it just turns into a blowout. So nothing against the international squad. You're going against Goliath here, but if I was playing this market, it would definitely be for a bigger score like 19.5 US.
Yes. Thank you, Jeff. We know you're not dumb enough. We know
which
you're not
side
dumb enough to bet the international side of the President's Cup.
Jeff, I got a text. Emerson texted me, guys.
Emerson's getting his text off.
Anyone know an Emerson? I don't know who that was.
I said, hey, Bessie,
New
love
phone,
you.
Who dis?
Oh, God.
New phone, who dis? Like, come on. Come on. Make sure his number's not up there, is it? Is it? No. Okay, good.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Jeff, text me
Who
back.
dis?
All right,
Sure.
good stuff, guys. We love
Later,
having
dudes.
you, Jeff and Jason. Appreciate the time as always. Madden's starting at noon. The slate is this evening. We are back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. We'll see you then.
Boom.